Bo Pelini's Youngstown State Penguins authored an improbable escape from the inferno. Now they are 60 minutes away from the ultimate paradise. But to get there, they'll have to go through the Dukes of James Madison. It is a pro James Madison crowd here in Frisco, Texas. The Dukes ride in on an 11-game win streak, and they're coming off a semifinal win against five-time defending champion North Dakota State. Youngstown State out of the Missouri Valley, James Madison out of the Colonial. It's the NCAA FCS Football Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. Both of these teams with impressive road wins in the semifinals. James Madison went to Fargo and did what few thought was possible. Youngstown State going to the Inferno in Cheney, Washington, and rallying from 11 down in the fourth quarter. Good afternoon on a chilly, frigid day here in Frisco, Texas at Toyota Stadium. Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks. The Bison are gone. We'll have a new champion in the FCS this season, and you have a James Madison team that's won 11 in a row, a Youngstown State team that's won 6 straight and have done it with a fourth-string quarterback.
Well, and you know what I love about both of these teams is their approach to the game. They have physical styles, and both coaches preach toughness, and I think that has rubbed off on the players. They have certainly adapted that type of mentality. I'm looking for a real fight out here in a few minutes.
Cold weather football, you've got to run the ball. James Madison has a guy to do just that.
Yeah, I think they have the edge, and particularly because of Khalid Abdullah. This is a young man that is a complete back. He can run inside in between the tackles. You'll see it here. He'll also run outside, and really gave North Dakota State the business in the fourth quarter and turned it on. But here's where I think he'll make the difference, Anish, is in the passing game. The ability to be the outlet for Brian Shore and this offense. Khalid Abdullah is the real deal.
On the flip side for the Penguins, they have the most productive defensive end tandem in all of college football.
I couldn't agree with you more. This is a dynamic duo, and it starts with Derek Rivers. When you watch this young man, he came in to the university. He wasn't a guy that was known for being a run stopper, but he's now adapted his game, and you see him there, excellent hands, getting the offensive lineman off of him and getting to the quarterback. He's been spectacular and special on downs where the quarterback has to drop back. And his comrade, one of his best friends off the field, Avery Moss, he came in more as a run stuffer and has now adapted the ability to get after the passer. 10 sacks on the year. These guys account for 24. Awesome.
Moss is nursing an ankle injury. He says he's at about 80%. These fans, 100% ready for championship football.
Supercross is back in Anaheim.
The Reds come up. Intensity follows.
Ryan Dungey is looking to three-peat as champion.
Here he comes. The back-to-back champ.
Can anyone cut him off?
Oh, down goes Dungey. Here comes Reed inside.
Monster Energy AMA Supercross Anaheim.
Battling for the win.
Today on ESPN2 and streaming live on Watch ESPN.
The postseason is here.
To the end zone. Can they catch him? No, they cannot. He's done it again.
Today and tomorrow, 8 teams start their journey to the Super Bowl.
Into the end zone. Goes Zach Center.
Anything can happen during the wild card.
What a grab by Beckham.
The NFL playoffs today and tomorrow on ESPN and Watch ESPN.
And we have got to dominate the point of contact. Dominate them physically. That's what's going to win the game. From the first snap to the very last one. That's where all the board drills come in, the slant comes in, all those hard practices. We dominate the point of contact. You strike them in the face. The first snap, the second snap, and every snap all day long. You win the point of contact, that trophy's going back to Harrisburg, Virginia today. You got me? Yes, sir. It is our time, and the big thing we got to do is we got to finish this season off. Finish the drill. Finish them. Let's take this thing back to Harrisburg.
First-year head coach Mike Houston getting the troops fired up. We're ready for kickoff. James Madison won the toss. They will receive Brandon Ravenel back deep. And on to kick it off for Youngstown State, Nate Needham, the freshman from Indiana. Underway at Toyota Stadium. Here's Ravenel from the 6. And he's dropped at the 23-yard line as we say hello to Quint Kesnick.
And East, for 7 years, Bo Pelini was the polarizing head coach in Nebraska, winning 9 or 10 games every year. But he has gone home now to Youngstown, where he grew up. And this team now becomes part of his extended family. He wanted to raise his kids in Youngstown. It's been a great fit. Coach Pelini is happy and seems at home. In year 2, his personality is permeating through this team. They're tough, they play defense, and they have a no-nonsense approach.
Second season with the Penguins, and they're playing for an FCS championship. On first down, the handoff is to Khalid Abdullah, the second-team All-American, taken down by Billy Nico Hurst after a gain of 6. The quarterback for James Madison is Brian Shore, a junior from Milford, Pennsylvania, the Offensive Player of the Year in the Colonial. He leads the nation in pass efficiency and completion percentage, and it's his escapability which makes him so dangerous. On second down, back to the ground, back to Abdullah, and he is engulfed for a loss at the 24-yard line by Avery Moss, one of those 2 star defensive ends for Youngstown State. And it's third down and long for James Madison, and this is a danger spot for the Dukes. Now these D-ends can pin their ears back.
Yeah, they can, and you'll see Derek Rivers, that's the guy to watch right there, who leads this team in sacks with 14.
He's an All-American. Short to the air, under pressure, rolling to his right. Looking downfield and then checks down, and it's dropped by Ravenel, and 3 and out go the Dukes.
Well, that's a great defensive series for the Penguins. They came out after giving up some good yardage to Abdullah on first down, shut him down on second down, and then put them in the perfect position to tee off on the quarterback. That time there, Rivers could not keep contained, but you got a chance to see Shore get outside of the pocket. He loves breaking the pocket to his right and can certainly make things happen when he's on the loose.
Gunnar Kane to punt it away. Ryan Emmons back deep for Youngstown State. This one takes a bounce at the 39, fielded on a hop. Youngstown State will start from the 35. The Penguins 12-3 on the season. They won 6 games in the always rugged Missouri Valley Football Conference. They have won 6 in a row after a loss to North Dakota State, 1 in overtime against Wofford in the quarterfinals, and then what a great comeback in the semis against the 2-seed Eastern Washington, winning on a last-second touchdown grab by Kevin Rader, who pinned the game-winning TD catch on the back of the Eastern Washington defender. On first down, it's Jody Webb coming off 6 straight 100-yard games, and he's tackled at the line of scrimmage by James Madison's top tackler, Gage Steele. There's the Penguins quarterback, Hunter Wells. He began the season as a 4th stringer. Injuries pressed him into action. He did not even make his season debut until week 8. On second down, Wells with time, and that is incomplete, nearly intercepted by Taylor Reynolds, who has 11 career picks. Planning for success is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Ahmad.
Yeah, today for Youngstown State, they've got to be able to control the clock. They held the ball for almost twice as much as Eastern Washington did in their semifinal game. They'll need that type of effort today. And for James Madison, win the turnover battle. That means create takeaways and protect the football on offense.
Alvin Bailey comes in motion. On 3rd and 10, here's the blitz. Picked up. Wells' pass incomplete. Intended for Damon Patterson. And both teams go 3 and out on their first series.
That was great coverage there by Curtis Oliver, and everything was covered downfield. Hunter Wells, I thought, made the best decision, which was try to get back down to his check down The offensive line did a good job of giving him a comfortable pocket to throw the ball in. But once again, another defensive stop here early on in the ball game and another 3 and out.
Dukes have been so good in the return game. Rashard Davis back deep. 4 punt return touchdowns. This kick is blocked. Scooped up and recovered by James Madison. Justin Wellens blocked the kick. The Dukes recover it, and they'll have it at the Youngstown State 18-yard line.
The thud of a football is one of the most exciting noises in all of the game. I mean, they brought the house. There was nobody back protecting. And what a great and tremendous effort. And now you've got the ball inside of the red zone, but special teams. And I'll say this, I said it when they took on North Dakota State. The Dukes have the best special teams unit in the country. They can do it in a multiple of ways. You see them there blocking a punt and now setting up their offense.
Now they emphasize special teams in practice all the time. From the red zone, Brian Shore, quarterback keeper, lowers his head and charges across the 15 to the 14-yard line. You know, it was funny. We were talking to James Madison's offensive coordinator, Donnie Kirkpatrick, yesterday, and he said if you had 3 buses, special teams would ride on the first bus. That's what it means to Mike Houston and this coaching staff.
Well, and I love it. And they put that type of emphasis there, and the players know it's important, and you can see it here with the results.
Little pop pass. It's a fake. Now Shore going for the end zone. Who else? Jonathan Kloosterman. His 5th touchdown grab of this postseason, and the Dukes capitalize off the block punt.
Well, Anish, get used to seeing that. They love to use Kloosterman down in the red zone. You look at this man, he's 6'3", 245. He moves extremely well for his size, but also has great awareness in terms of what the defense is trying to do to you. That time there, just flanked on the outside, run straight up the field, was wide open, but the ability to go up and grab that football and bring it down for the first touchdown of the ball game, the Dukes really got it rolling here.
Tyler Gray on for the point after. The kick is good, 7-0, James Madison. It all started with a blocked punt that led to a short field, and it's the tight end Kloosterman on the receiving end of this touchdown pass from Brian Shore. There's Jonathan Kloosterman, his 14-yard touchdown reception, accounting for the lone score early in this first quarter.
Yeah, I want you to watch him right here. This is Kloosterman. He's just going to leak outside, act like he's blocking this corner, and release right into the end zone for the touchdown. Now, I'm sure the Penguins know that he is one of the top red zone targets for this team, but you saw him get sucked in there. Lee Wright, the linebacker, eyes got caught in the backfield, which allowed Jonathan Kloosterman to get outside and to score the first touchdown of this national championship game.
Kloosterman has 24 catches on the season, 7 TDs, of which 5 have come in the playoffs. This is Webb. He's got the 20. And down he goes at the 25-yard line. James Madison, 13-1. They went 8-0 in an always tough Colonial. The only loss to North Carolina, and the Dukes actually led that game after 1 quarter. And then in the playoffs, they put up some gaudy offensive numbers, especially in their first 2 games. Went into Fargo in the semifinals. And in a tie game in the 4th quarter, they scored 10 unanswered to dethrone 5-time defending champion North Dakota State. Second series for Youngstown State. Hunter Wells at quarterback. Out of the backfield to Webb. He's out of bounds after a nice game on first down.
Yeah, and that's where Webb can really hurt you in the passing game. This is a young man that I believe is better suited to run outside of the tackle, but the coaching staff says he can also run with power in between the tackles. Excellent vision, exceptional cutting ability, and suddenness and speed that really makes him dangerous when he's got the ball in his hands.
He's had 200-plus all-purpose yards in 6 straight games. Webb gets the call again, and There you see that little wiggle as he gets to the 30. He's lightning in a shot glass. 5'9",
yeah.
Feet like Hermes, heart like Hercules.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And he's got the patience that allows him to put his foot in the ground and really transition with speed through the cut. And you look at him there, he's 5'9", 175 pounds, small in stature, but he plays a lot bigger than his size would indicate.
Wells going downfield, nobody there, incomplete, 4th down. Kevin Rader was about 15 yards in front of where that pass landed. And for the second straight possession, Youngstown State goes 3 and out. And now again, our focus on special teams. We highlighted Rashard Davis, who has 4 punt return touchdowns, but it was a blocked punt last time out. Mark Schuler, second team all-conference punter, to kick it away for the Penguins. Not a good kick. He shanks this one. And let's see where they mark the ball. James Madison will start at midfield after just a 20-yard punt. In the semifinals 3 weeks ago, James Madison went to Fargo, North Dakota, and knocked off 5-time defending champion North Dakota State. Ahmad, you and I were there for that game, and we walked away thinking if you play that game 10 times, James Madison probably wins at least 8. They were the more physical team, and Mike Houston, their head coach, told us that was what he wanted this team to be. And he said all year we said we wanted to be a physical team. That win validated to him and his coaching staff and his players that they are a physical team. He has transformed the DNA of this team.
You're right. And he said when he first got here, he felt like the guys had embraced more of a finesse approach, and he wanted to change that to a physical approach. And from what they did in the Fargo Dome several weeks ago, and now you look at him here early on in this ball game, coming out here once again being physical.
Shore on first down. He'll just throw this away. 2nd and 10. Planning for success brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. What are you watching for when the Dukes have the ball?
Well, I think if you're James Madison, you've got to take some shots downfield. Make sure that you get this defense off of you, and they've got 2 inexperienced safeties starting for the Penguins today. And if you're Youngstown State, limit those explosive plays, keep things in front of you, and tackle well in space.
Here's Abdullah, lost his balance, gets across midfield, has an opening. The second team All-American still on his feet all the way down to the 20-yard line. A gain of almost 30. 1st and 10, James Madison.
Ooh-wee. Look at this here. I mean, oh my goodness, a great job the entire run of keeping his feet clean and running through wimpy and arm tackles. You can't bring this guy down just throwing a wing out of there. You've got to bring your hips, you've got to run your feet to tackle Abdullah.
1,700 plus yards entering play. He gets the call again. Straight ahead for a short gain. Khalid Abdullah had 180 yards against North Dakota State in the semifinals. And we've seen plenty of games up in Fargo. That's one of the more physical defenses. You don't see those kind of rushing performances against that team. He's been dynamite all season, all postseason. Three-man front by Youngstown. Shore under pressure, chased by the corner Rivers, throws for the end zone, and incomplete. The field judge said he did not possess the football.
But you see Shore's escapability, as you alluded to early on. Let's see here if he got his... It didn't look like he had control there, and I don't know if he necessarily had control of the catch there. Once right there, he got his foot down, but if you look at the football, he was still kind of fumbling with it there. I think the officials got this call right. And if you're Youngstown State, you better start putting... Looks like they may review this call here.
We have our rules expert, Dave Kataya, in the booth.
Was an incomplete pass. The previous play, is under review.
And Dave, so much of this completing the catch. Did he possess the ball? Did he have control of it when that foot comes down?
The key is here is his foot's clearly down. You can see the ball move a little bit, but the key is, does he grab and secure it before he hits out of bounds? You're going to see the foot. The right foot's coming down right now. Right? You can see it appears the ball moves. To me, it may be a catch, but I'm not sure they have enough to reverse this. It's got to be 100% that he has possession of the ball.
It's a great angle there.
And that's a spot, too, where at any point there when that foot comes down, if he possesses the football, it's a dead ball, and it would be a touchdown.
Absolutely. Now, that shot right there gives him a pretty good perspective of that ball not moving. They may be able to change this call based on that spot. It's all their judgment on as to whether he secures it then. And it's not an eternity. It's simply possess it when his foot touches.
And again, the call on the field was an incomplete pass. The field judge ruled that Rashard Davis did not possess the ball, and you need indisputable video evidence to overturn it. And Dave, this could be one of these situations where, had the call been a touchdown on the field, that might end up standing because of the indisputable video evidence that we always try to point to.
If they go with stands, no matter what if they go with stands, it's going to go to the call on the field. We all have to assume by rule the call on the field is correct, unless there's indisputable 100% video evidence that it's not. And this is awfully, awfully close.
And I think by the length of the deliberation here, that's an indication that this is a very difficult call to make as the official's getting ready to let us know.
After review, the receiver did maintain control, getting a foot down in bounds, resulting in a touchdown.
Based on that last angle and that last securing, I think they got this one right.
I don't envy the official's job here, but, you know, going back to James Madison here, and if you're the Penguins, they better start slowing this train down, because on the season, JMU has outscored opponents in the first half 205-34 prior to that touchdown. And what I mean by that is if they get on top of you early with this type of offense and with Abdullah, a back that can control the clock, you're in trouble. You saw Shore there get out of the pocket, move to his left, put the ball on the money. That's something that we know should be a problem for the Penguins. They've got to try to shore that up.
The #1 scoring offense in the country. 14 points already in this one.
The NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. Northwestern Mutual, we help you live life differently. And in part by DiGiorno. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Both James Madison and Youngstown State taking part in a community outreach event at Fieldhouse USA. They served at Buddy's to Miracle League kids, helping them play a flag football game. Miracle League offers sports opportunities for special needs children in the Frisco area. Replay overturned a call on the field, so Rashard Davis with a touchdown reception. James Madison, 2 scores, both set up by special teams, one off a block punt, the other with a short field after a 20-yard punt.
And this offense has to get something going after 2 consecutive 3-and-outs.
This is Webb from the 10-yard line. Makes his way to the outside. He's got the 35, the 40. And Jody Webb scoots out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Let's go back to the touchdown. Bring in our rules expert again, Dave Kataya.
All right. There's a lot depends on what the official told the replay guy. If he said I had a foot bound, no bobble, they're going to look at it one way. The key is this 100%? You see a little bobble as he's coming across the sideline. I would have been okay with stands.
I was a little surprised, given that you need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call, but the call goes for James Madison. They've got a 2-touchdown lead. They average 48 points per game. And now Youngstown State on offense for the 3rd time. 3-and-out on the first 2 possessions. Wells out of the pistol. They'll hand it off to Webb, who's bottled up for a loss back at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, one of the things when you watch this Duke's defense is that stands out is their team speed. And we talked earlier about their physicality. Look, this is not a bunch of track guys running around on the football field, with all due respect to track guys. These are football players, and I think you're seeing that early on in this ball game with the Penguins really struggling right now at the line of scrimmage and to run the football.
2 receivers stacked to each side here on 2nd and 12. Against a 4-man rush. Stepping up, making the pass, and it is incomplete. Hunter Wells throwing it downfield. And that time he wanted his running back Webb, so 3rd and long.
That was a dime, though, by Hunter Wells. I mean, boy, he put it right on Jody Webb, and Webb has to make that play for his quarterback and his team. That was the big play they needed to get them within striking distance, and Webb there just couldn't hold on to it. You've got your middle linebacker, Gage Steele, taking on one of the quickest and fastest players. That's the matchup that the Penguins have to continue to find and go back to.
On 3rd down, Wells again to the air, floated, and it's caught. Alvin Bailey for a gain of 15, and the first down of the game for Youngstown State. Bailey has really come on in the postseason, 19 catches in the playoffs after 22 in the regular season.
Yeah, just a corner out there as he got out of Alvin Bailey did into his route, and Hunter Wells threw the ball from a very strange body position, but still managed to get it there.
This goes to Webb, running right side, and driven out of bounds after a gain of 4. Bo Pelini's team, they've been down before in the quarterfinal and the semifinal. Came back both times. They've got a quarterback who's been down mentally. Talking to Hunter Wells on Thursday, he said he was at the lowest point in his life midway through the season. This was a kid who started 4 years in high school, started as a freshman, started as a sophomore at Youngstown State, and then was relegated to 4th string duty to open the season. Under center this time. This is Tevin McCaster, his first call. He plows ahead for a gain of a yard. 3rd down.
Yeah, McCaster is more of your ground and pound type guy. He really spells Jody Webb with a more physical approach in between the tackles, as there's a few injured Duke's players down on the field.
Third down coming up for Youngstown State. One of the players is David Ajagwu, whose twin brother is a DB at Maryland. .46 on the left. That's Ajagwu.
Oh, Dimitri Holloway fell awkwardly on that right leg and then got caught underneath them. Never good when you see that happen.
And remember, Dimitri Holloway playing most of the snaps at one of the outside linebacker positions because Brandon Herford, who was the team's leading tackler going into the semis, is suspended for this championship game. James Madison suspended 7 players for the semis and the championship. The 2 most notable, Herford, who was their leading tackler 3 weeks ago, and then also their number 2 wide receiver, Terrence Alls. On the flip side, Youngstown State missing some big pieces as well, and they got through Eastern Washington without 2 all-conference safeties who were suspended. Their leader in receiving yards also suspended, as was a 1,000-yard rusher in Martin Ruiz.
Well, and it looks like you're about to lose 2 key pieces here. Yeah, it's hard to say that a player can run if he can't even walk off the field. And in both of these cases, they've been assisted off of the football field. And if you're James Madison, now you're looking to the next man up to come in and to make something happen and to try to replace 2 guys that are productive for your team.
It'll be 3rd down and 5 for the Penguins. Wells under center. McCaster is the back, and now Wells moves back to the 40. Cold, frigid day here in Frisco. Temps in the low 20s. There's the pressure. near sideline. That is caught by Isaiah Scott. And he appears to have the first down.
And that's one of the tougher throws to make, trying to throw that out from the far hash mark. And Wells that time didn't really have enough juice on it here. But great job of the wide receiver, Scott, coming back and adjusting as he lost his footing. That's also something to keep in mind, as both of these teams have limited opportunities in playing on grass fields.
It is a first down. 2 tight ends now into the game. This is Webb, tried to bounce it to the outside, and he is cut down by the Virginia transfer, Darius Carter, a loss of 2.
And that's a big play there from Carter, especially when you consider the fact that Jody Webb is one of those types of players that can hit those small creases as they open and get to the second level and really make you pay. And this defensive line so far has done a good job of containing Webb. Can they do that the extent of the game?
When Holloway went down with the injury, Kyrie Hawkins came into the game for James Madison at linebacker. Azagwu, who got hurt, was a backup. Corner blitz. Wells under pressure. He'll try to run. And he gets back to the original line of scrimmage. 3rd down. Andrew Ankra on the stop. Part of the reason Hunter Wells did not open the season as the starter is that Bo Pelini and this coaching staff wanted a dual threat at quarterback. So they went with Ricky Davis to begin the season. Davis suffered 2 concussions. The backup, Trent Hosick, broke his collarbone. And that opened the door for Wells to get back into the mix. They also used Nathan Mays, who's more of a running quarterback, and we could see him later today, but not on 3rd and 10.
Well, one thing these wide receivers got to do is they've got to beat one-on-one coverage. Right now, the Duke's defense, particularly the secondary, is owning these wide receivers.
Wells under pressure, has to get rid of it. That's caught by Webb, and he's tackled after a gain of just a yard. It's 4th down from the 28-yard line. And let's see what Bo Pelini does. They've got a kicker in Zach Kennedy, whose season long is 46. Let's check in quickly with Quint.
Anish, Kennedy really struggled in warm-ups. This is the first time all year he's kicking on grass. The field is hard as a rock and frozen. You worry about his plant foot, but the lefty was not on target pregame.
Mark Schuler, the punter, to hold. Kennedy hit a 42-yarder on the frozen Inferno in the semis. Botched snap. Schuler falls on it. Another special teams gaffe by Youngstown State. And early on, that's been the difference in this game.
Yeah, not the start the Penguins were looking for. That's for certain. And if you're the Dukes right now, they've got the momentum on their sideline. What can they do with it? And if you're the Penguins, right now is the perfect time for one of these leaders, maybe it's your quarterback, Hunter Wells, to call the team over, settle them down. This is a big game, and perhaps maybe the biggest game of your life for a lot of these players, but it's still a football game. They've got to find a way to settle into this game, calm their nerves, and fight back.
Shore on the zone read, and he dives down at the 39, a gain of 3. You got to worry against James Madison if you're the Penguins. You look at some of the offensive numbers the Dukes have put up this season. Point totals here: 80, 56, 84, 63, and then in the playoffs, 55 and 65.
Yeah, not the kind of team you want to be trailing by more than 3 touchdowns. Extremely hard to get back into a ball game.
This is Trey Sharp, who had a big game in the quarterfinals, and he rumbles across the 45. They'll be close to a first down for the Dukes.
Sharp is one of their gadget guys, and in speaking to Donnie Kirkpatrick yesterday, he said, we really want to challenge these defensive ends, and part of the way you do that is you have to move guys from left to right to make sure that they hold tight and true to their responsibilities. If not, they can tee off on your quarterback, and they have a free release to get into the backfield.
On 3rd down, here's Abdullah. Burst of speed into Youngstown State territory, and a first down at the Penguin 47. Monday at 8 Eastern on ESPN, it's the College Football Playoff National Championship presented by AT&T, Clemson and Alabama. You got to pick them out.
You know what? I'm going to surprise everybody here. I'm going with the Tigers. I'm going with Deshaun Watson. I think this year he gets it done.
This is James Madison, John Miller on that fly sweep. They'll mark him out of bounds at the 40 after a gain of 7. It was Miller who had a huge fourth quarter touchdown grab against North Dakota State on a 3rd down call. The Dukes decided to go for it, went long for Miller. He caught it for a touchdown, and that essentially put the game away. Back to Abdullah, breaking tackles. He's like a bowling ball. He takes it to the 33, another first down, a gain of 7. And Khalid Abdullah closing on the school's single-season rushing record.
Yeah, the Dukes right now are smelling blood. They've gone to their up-tempo offense. They've got this defense on their heels, and they are now pressing the gas.
Abdullah needs about 13 yards to become the school's all-time leader for rushing yards in one season. They'll feed Abdullah again, and he ran into a roadblock at the 30, a gain of 3.
Yeah, and they just need somebody right now to make a play. If you're the Penguins, that means a turnover, a forced fumble, something to get your team going and to get them with the right energy, because the Dukes right now are rolling, and you can just feel their confidence growing as this game is going along.
Ravenel in motion. On the ground again, Sharp. A gain of a yard by the sophomore out of North Carolina, who actually had offers from the likes of NC State and Purdue, a 3-star recruit out of high school.
I think what we're starting to see out of this Penguins defense is exactly what they need. They need to be stout in the middle. They've got to be able to take something away, shut down the run, and to do that, they're going to need their 2 tackles to really be stout inside, which forces everything outside to their playmakers, Moss and Rivers, and they've been able to do that on 1st and 2nd down in this possession.
On 3rd down, Shore under pressure, and he is sacked. Avery Moss with his 11th sack of the season, and that drives James Madison back to the 35-yard line. And they have a kicker, Tyler Gray, who only has 1 career field goal from beyond 33. He had a 45-yarder in the semis, but that was indoors.
Well, and just as I said it, the D tackles did a nice job of getting push, and which allowed the defensive ends to really get after the quarterback. And because Rivers was able to keep contained, he ran Shore right into Moss as he was trying to escape the pocket. Outstanding, and the best defense I've seen from the Penguins here today.
Gunnar Kane boots this one downfield. High bounce inside the 5, and it goes into the end zone. And Youngstown State will start at the 20-yard line. James Madison nearly had the Penguins pinned deep. It is wild card weekend of the NFL playoffs. Start with the wild card game on ESPN and ABC today at 4:20 p.m. Eastern. It's the Raiders and the Texans. That game in Houston. Connor Cook making his first career start. It's coming in the playoffs. Hunter Wells, the quarterback for Youngstown State. We told you, 4th stringer to begin the year, but he has experience. This is his 28th career start. He said this journey has been unreal this season.
And I think he found something the last series. He was really in rhythm. The ball he threw to Webb, the ball he threw to Bailey. If he can find that same magic, this offense will move the chains and ultimately score some points.
A gain of 3 on 1st down by Jody Webb, who has not had much room to run. New quarterback, Nathan Mays. That usually means it's a running play, but with 16 seconds to go here in this first quarter, Youngstown State will just walk to the sideline. The Penguins have come back so many times this season. Their entire season, in fact, seems like one big comeback. They're down 2 touchdowns after a quarter. 15 minutes in the books here in Frisco, the site of the FCS championship. Special teams has been the deciding factor so far. James Madison with a 14-0 lead after 1. You're watching the NCAA FCS Football Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks, Quint Kesnick down on the field. Start of the second quarter here at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. 14-0.
Look at my man.
James Madison. We are freezing up in the booth. This guy, nah, he's good.
I'm straight. That's what he tells his boys. I don't need anything with these gloves I got on. I'm straight. Fantastic.
The internet's going to have fun with that one. Second down for Youngstown State.
Nathan Mays in the ball game, typically a running threat.
They give it to Webb. And Jody Webb gets to the 39-yard line as we go down to Quint.
Anish, James Madison's defense looks like they're going to be without Dimitri Holloway, linebacker, who they put his left foot in a boot, and David Zagwu, his left knee is in a brace. So from a run-stopping standpoint, that's a significant hit for the Dukes.
You're absolutely right, Quint.
This is Webb spinning away, and he pinballs to the 45-yard line, a gain of 7.
And if I'm the Penguins, I go right after the backups that just came in this ball game. You want to attack them and see what type of mindset they are in right now, because those are 2 big losses for the Dukes defense. And you can tell now with Nathan Mays in the game, I think that is the approach. They're going to use him to run this football and really put the pressure on the Dukes D.
This is Webb again, and he drives to midfield, a first down for Youngstown State. And this is the first drive where we've seen the Penguins really able to establish that rush.
Yeah, and you know, and if I'm the coaching staff for the Penguins, and I thought Hunter Wells was in a good rhythm prior to being taken out, but the bottom line is they're not moving the ball. You see them now, they're getting first downs. That's what this game is all about, and they're doing it with their running game. He's giving them a boost for sure.
Here's Webb on the counter, and he's dropped in the backfield by Martez Stone. He's the big anchor of that defensive line, and what a journey it's been for Stone. Was a student at Cleveland State in 2012, walked on to West Virginia, went to junior college, then came to James Madison because of a credit hour snafu, could not play last year, became a double major just to be eligible this season. Hunter Wells back in on second down. We'll set up the screen to Webb. And he gets to the 49 of James Madison. 3rd and 9 for the Penguins.
Yeah, I like the play call there. And, you know, when you look at it, what Shane Montgomery, the offensive coordinator, was trying to do was use the Dukes' team speed against them, but it was the team speed that got them back into the play. It was set up nicely. And now in a 3rd and long situation, they've had success going to the edges. So I would like maybe some out-breaking routes as all of these wide receivers are in tight. Typically when you're in tight like this, you're running 2 things, crossing routes or outs.
Bailey in motion. Sack! Darius Carter, the Virginia transfer, drops Wells back at the 44-yard line.
And that was once again a coverage sack. They had the crossing routes, as I mentioned. They tried to get a post over the top. There it was not happening. And you see it here, 4-man rush. They were just able to generate pressure, and Carter was able to beat Justin Spencer. Spencer barely got a hand on him and almost pushed him into the quarterback. The Dukes, after giving up some plays and some yardage, came back and managed to get off the field.
Special teams has been an adventure early. Rashard Davis, 4 punt return TDs, and he is taken down shy of the 15-yard line. A 50-yard punt by Schuler, a 5-yard return.
Yeah, you just see Darius Carter blow by Spencer. You'll see him here. He's right in the middle of your screen. Watch him here. Nice job using his hands, but the best part, finishing. That's the boost you need in order to get back into this ball game.
Read option. This is Shore. And Brian Shore taken down after a gain of a yard by Billy Nico Hurst. Shore's had an interesting journey coming out of high school. He had originally committed and had a scholarship offer from Miami University. That's the one in Oxford, Ohio. After a coaching change, Miami pulled the offer. So right after graduating high school, he had nowhere to go. And in fact, he was coaching his high school football team.
Wow.
Ended up going the junior college route before ending up at JMU. Little running room that time. And it's third down.
Yeah, that time Rivers and Smith all over the play. And going back to the previous series, I thought this defensive line started to do a better job of shutting down the inside run game. And that time there, the effort from both Rivers and Smith was the reason they were able to really put pressure. And now you've got an opportunity to tee off with Avery Moss and Derek Rivers, the most dynamic defensive end duo in all of FCS.
24 combined sacks out of the empty set. Four-man rush. Shore gets rid of it. He's got Davis. And Rashard Davis with a first down across the 40. They'll mark him down at the 46-yard line, a gain of 32.
I've been impressed with Brian Shore's ability to throw the football here. He knew the pressure was coming. He got the ball out of his hand quickly, which tells me his pre-snap reads were on point. And look at the ball there, thrown in stride to Davis on the money. Big-time play from their quarterback.
Play action. Shore downfield for Damo Taylor, who makes the catch. Covered by Kenny Bishop. Taylor takes it to the 23, a gain of 31.
Yeah, that's a good matchup out here between these two players, Taylor and Bishop being their best cover guy. He just lost track of the football. Ideally in that situation, when you're the cornerback, you want to turn into the wide receiver so you don't lose him behind you, something Bishop will probably do the next time he's in coverage on Taylor down the field.
Duke's going quickly again. Quarterback draw with everybody spread out, and a gain of 5 for Shore.
Yeah, I like this. Shore's not your running quarterback, but what it's telling this defense is you've got to count for me. And he was banged up a little of the latter part of the season, and they said the rest has really helped him. And in talking to the coaching staff, they said it. We'd like to see him get more design runs. That time there, good yardage on first down on the design quarterback draw.
Little pop pass this time. Not much room that time. Kenny Bishop making the stop, a gain of a yard. You mentioned Shore was banged up. The coach just told us he suffered a broken collarbone late in the season. In fact, he missed the regular season finale, came back in the postseason against New Hampshire in round 2, and all he did was throw for a school record 5 touchdown passes.
Wow. He's a gamer.
Third down. Rashard Davis in the slot, play clock winding down. Shore throwing, and that is caught. There's a flag on the play. Damo Taylor with a reception inside the 5. It'll be first and goal if it stands.
Well, Taylor has really stepped his game up. He's using that big frame, 6'3", 210, and that time there went high at its highest point to snag a football, and this appears to be pass interference on the Penguins.
Pass interference, defense, number 7. Penalties decline. Result of the play was a completed catch for a first down.
First and goal, James Madison.
Yeah, you saw that tug there on the back from Bishop. And give Taylor credit. Despite the defensive back draped all over him, still went and made a play for his team, now inside of the 5. And guess what? Perfect time to get this man right here the football. Your All-American running back.
Abdullah into the end zone. his 21st rushing touchdown of the season, and James Madison has opened up a 20-zip lead.
Yeah, if you're the Penguins, you're looking at their sideline right now. You're seeing the streamers come out of the stands from the Dukes fans. And it's rolling right now downhill for the Penguins. They've got to do something to stop it, because right now the Dukes have all the momentum and they've got all the points. And so this is not a good situation for Youngstown State.
And they've got most of the fans here in Frisco as well. A strong contingent making the trip from Harrisonburg, Virginia. You look up and there are pockets of purple. Looks like the lavender fields of Provence. Bo Pelini, that's the real Bo Pelini. His team down 21-zip. Khalid Abdullah, 21st rushing touchdown, 44th touchdown of his James Madison career. And James Madison is charged out of the gate with a 21-0 lead as we go down to Quint Kesnick.
Well, special teams, a focus of Houston, and their kickoff coverage is different in two ways. They focus on hang time on the kick. 3.8 seconds is par. They'll kick it deep middle, which is a little unusual. So many teams directional kick on kickoffs, and they send 10 like Banshees down the middle of the field.
Yeah, they put their best athletes and their fastest guys on kick return coverage. This is Webb. He gets to the outside, but no room to go. Takes it to the 27, a 14-yard return. Youngstown State's offense will take the field, still looking for their first score. On the last drive, they were able to move the ball with Nathan Mays at quarterback, but it's going to be Hunter Wells.
And he hasn't had a bad game. 5 of 9, 27 yards. He's managed to protect the football. The problem is the offense is stagnant when he's been in the game. You've made more progress when Mays was in running the football. I would hope that they bring him back out at some point to try to get back into that groove that they were in last series.
Play action. Wells under pressure. He'll run. He's got the 30 and scampers out of bounds after a gain of 5.
And it's hard to get into your play action game when your running game isn't working. And that time there, the defense was not full. They had max protect, 2-man route down the field, made it very easy for this secondary and this Dukes defense to cover them all up, which forced Wells to have to squeak out of the backside of the pocket. Good yardage, though, picking it up on first down.
James Madison defensively, that's where they've really
stingy
taken big strides in 2016. Tevin McCaster bullies his way to the 41 for a gain of 9. McCaster in the semifinals, 29 carries, 154 yards, both career highs. He had not run for more than 15, hadn't had more than 15 attempts in a game prior to that. And down the stretch, he had 15, 16 carries in the fourth quarter alone. And those were frigid conditions over in Cheney, Washington. From the 41, play action to McCaster, who can't quite hold on. He is not the receiving back that Jody Webb is. There is a flag.
After the play, personal foul, offense, number 61, 15 yards. It is second down.
That's the left tackle, Justin Spencer, second team All-Missouri Valley. And given what we've seen from Youngstown State offensively so far, the last thing they can afford to do is get behind the chains.
You're right, and you're going to see him up at the top of your screen. And it was the push there, but it's that part that drew the foul. He already had him down on the ground, and you know, you want your offensive lineman to be nasty, especially if you're Bo Pelini, and we know the type of aggression he wants his players to play with. but you've got to be smart. You've got to keep your emotions in check, especially in a game of this magnitude, as now you've really hurt your offense. Now you're behind the chains in a tough situation.
Play clock down to 2, down to 1. And Youngstown State was able to call a timeout. 7:08 to go here in the first half. All James Madison so far. Youngstown State was the program in the FCS in the 90s. They won the championship in 91, won it again in 93. They played in 4 straight title games. They won 4 championships in the 90s. And yeah, their head coach, a familiar name to many college football fans, Jim Tressel, who would later go on to Ohio State. Tressel now the president at Youngstown State. He had a 5-year show cause penalty that actually just expired. It happened this past week, so he could return to coaching if he wanted to. And the team that would hire him would not face any potential sanctions. But Tressel at Youngstown State, back where he started his coaching career, and his last coaching hire, Bo Pelini, a Youngstown native, he told us what it meant for him to be able to come home. Wounded duck over the middle, and it falls incomplete. Dangerous pass as we go back down to Quint.
Anish, I spoke to the professor, Mr. Tressel, Coach Tressel, about the championships that they won in the 90s. He talked about how positive it was for the community, which at the time was going through a tough spot, a difficult period. And he said football is just such a part of the culture at Youngstown State. In terms of his future, he says he's happy doing what he's doing, and joked, "The game has passed me by. I hardly recognize any of these formations anymore."
I understand that.
Play clock again running low. Wells loads up downfield, incomplete for Patterson. He's their big play threat. Coverage by Jimmy Moreland, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, Wells trying to air it out and take a shot, and why not? At this point in the ball game, he had the one-on-one matchup, and his wide receiver was even able. Patterson, who's their big play guy, they go to him for the big play. Had gotten behind coverage and just couldn't quite haul it in. But the Penguins right now are struggling to find anything on offense, and with the penalties that have pushed them back, this is also a unit where they've struggled, is on special teams.
Schuler's kick sails over the head of Davis, who watches it bounce and roll inside the 10. Great punt by Schuler, down at the 7-yard line. A 67-yard boot to flip the field. That appears to be, no, that is a North Dakota State fan. A lot of those guys and gals buy tickets to the championship game before the season even begins. You would have thought they would have sold their allotment this year, but there's a few that decided to make the trip to Frisco anyway.
Why not? And if you're wearing a hat like that, you can always be my friend.
From deep in their own zone, Abdullah looking for running room and maneuvers to the 10-yard line before he's tackled by Armand Delavade, Youngstown State's leading tackler. Abdullah, 56 rushing yards, getting close to that single season school record. His rushing touchdown was the 21st of the season for him. That's tops in the FCS. And he now also has the most career touchdowns in JMU history. Not much running room that time. Avery Moss, who began his career with Bo Pelini at Nebraska, with the stop.
What I love about these defensive ends when you look at them is their ability to dissect plays, read plays behind the line of scrimmage, and then attack. Oftentimes you find players that don't have their instinct. Now, they've got ability, but you can tell that instinct, their film study, is really paying off in their ability to read plays, which helps them get closer and which helps them anticipate what's coming next.
On 3rd and 7, we've got a timeout on the field.
Charge timeout. Youngstown State. This will be a 30-second timeout.
It's Youngstown State's second timeout, a 30-second timeout. You saw a few players looking to the sideline for instructions, and Bo Pelini wants to make sure that the Penguins get this 3rd and 7 right, because you've got James Madison pinned at the 10-yard line. This is a chance to get the ball back to your offense with good starting field position.
Yeah, and Pelini right now not happy about something. And you're right. You know, when you've got a team up against the ropes like this, you want to make sure that you can punish them and make them pay. And that's the face and the passion that we're used to seeing out of Bo Pelini.
There's a lot of fans who are tuning in right now who remember him from his Nebraska days, thinking, there's the Bo Pelini I fell in love with.
That scowl, yeah, that look, man. Him and John Gruden, our colleague here, when they make that face, I don't care what they're talking about, it scares me. You know, you can just tell he's serious, and it is not a game.
Dave Kataya, our rules expert in the booth. He does have to be careful, though, doesn't he?
Well, he's out in the field. What the officials should have done is walk into the sideline and talk to him, but he doesn't belong out near the hash mark talking to the officials.
3rd and 7 for James Madison. Youngstown State 47 sacks this year. That's a school record. Underneath, and they'll say it's a catch, a loss of a yard. 4th down. John Miller as we go down to Quint.
Coach Pelini, right in the official's face. You can't line up in a formation with 12 men. That led to confusion in terms of what personnel they needed to match. And that led to the Youngstown State timeout. And he thought it was all because JMU got away with an illegal sub.
Gunnar Kane will punt from his own end zone, and we have a flag. Robert Carter broke early off the line. Carter's one of their best gunners.
Full start. Kicking team, number 36. Half the distance to the goal line. Still 4th down.
Gunnar Kane to punt it away from his own end zone. Youngstown State coming hard. They tip the ball, and it's going to land at the 29-yard line. So the Penguins come up with a big special teams play. Solomon Warfield got his fingertip on the football, and the Penguins with their best starting field position of the afternoon.
It started with that punt, that flip field position, and now, like you said, the Dukes back were up against their end zone, and oftentimes special teams coaches like to go after it when they have it in that type of situation. And you watch it here. Fantastic job here from Warfield, just making a play for his team. Maybe this is the momentum in the short field that is needed for the Penguins to get back in this ball game.
Do you take a shot downfield if you're Youngstown State here?
Oftentimes in sudden change is when offense coordinators do like to take a shot, but if I'm them, I put it on the ground.
Wells going to the air. In the slot, rather in the flat, it's Bailey. And he's to the 20-yard line. Alvin Bailey, a former top 100 recruit out of high school. Began his career in Gainesville, transferred from Florida to Youngstown.
And that was good rhythm there from Wells. We saw him throw that similar route early in the ball game, and he didn't throw it in rhythm. And the wide receiver had to come back for the ball. That time there, he put it in the right location with the right amount of power behind that throw that got it out to the flat.
Bailey lined up in the slot. Wells motions him. On the ground. Webb bounces off a defender and then brought down from behind. Curtis Oliver on the stop.
Excellent open field tackle. After Webb had managed to find one of those small creases that I talked about that with his stature makes it very easy for him to squeeze through. And Oliver, if he doesn't make that play, Webb gets into the behind the second level, and that could have been a touchdown. Big time open field tackle from the cornerback Curtis Oliver.
Webb did pick up the first down. 2 tight ends into the game. Play action. Over the middle, end zone, touchdown, Youngstown State. Shane Coon with his first TD grab of the season, and the Penguins are on the board.
That is exactly what they needed. It started with special teams that led to a short field, which gave this offense the confidence that they were within striking distance. And they did it in a myriad of ways. They started it off throwing out to the flat, came back with a design run for Webb, and then Wells puts the ball on the money as they run, and they put the stress on the defense. A defensive back in the backfield actually slips and falls, and it opened it up for a Penguins touchdown.
Another bad snap. Kennedy, though, able to put it through the uprights for the PAT. So the exchange again from long snapper Stephen Wetley and the holder Mark Schuler. Some issues there, but Kennedy got it through for the point after. It's 21-7. Shane Coon, just his third career touchdown reception. First of the season, just his sixth catch of the year.
Yeah, what you're going to see here is Coon is going to release right into this area on the seam. The other player is going to take this safety away with him here, and it opens it up for this throw, despite a defensive back in the back end slipping and falling right there in coverage, who might have been able to make a play. That wasn't his man, though, and Coon doing a good job of shielding with that big frame at 6'4", 245 pounds. The junior from Pennsylvania getting the Penguins on the board, a much-needed touchdown for Youngstown State.
And then on the PAT, again, it was not smooth from the snap to the hold. We saw Schuler bobble a snap on a field goal, and that potentially cost Youngstown State 3 points. Penguins, though, get on the board, and with 3:35 to go here in the first half, if they can get a hold here, they'd get the ball to start the third quarter. All of a sudden, it changes the dynamic of this game.
Well, and if you're on the Penguin sideline, they're used to being in this position.
Sure.
There aren't many players on that sideline that are telling themselves they can't win this game. They've pulled it off so many times this year, just sticking around in ball games, winning the fourth quarter, and then ultimately winning games.
Ravenel from the 5. And he slips at the 18-yard line. Time for a studio update. Good afternoon, Chris Cotter. I wonder how much Lane Kiffin not being the play caller, Steve Sarkisian being the play caller, how much does that make a difference for a true freshman quarterback in Jalen Hurts?
I think it makes a difference because you have a different voice, and let's face it, they're two different people. Now, though the offensive philosophy may stay the same, and Sark hasn't done this in a while, so he needs to knock some rust off early on against a very dominant Clemson defense.
James Madison will keep it on the ground and bouncing off of defenders to the 25, Khalid Abdullah. A gain of 8, 2nd and 2. And with that run, Khalid Abdullah is now James Madison's single season rushing leader. He passed Rodney Landers. Shore on the run, throwing downfield in coverage, and there is a flag on the play. Davis was the target. Shore 7 of 9, 112 yards, 2 TDs in this first half.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 18, 10 yards. First down.
DJ Thomas, the nickelback. On the offensive line, James Madison much improved at right tackle from the semifinals. Tyree Chavis making his second straight start there. He was a deer in headlights at the Fargo Dome. 5 false start penalties in that game. First career start. He's starting in place of Mitchell Kirsch, an All-American caliber tackle who's out. And going up against Derek Rivers this afternoon. Chavis has done a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, it's a daunting task, but we're only halfway through this ball game. He's got to continue to play well.
Nice run for Abdullah, a gain of 7. He's up to 71 yards rushing in this first half. Had 180 in the semis.
And that is not what you want. The last 2 first downs, Abdullah has been able to really chip away at those chains, putting them in the second and short situations where they can get into their zone read play packages, or the quick throws, the quick passing game, something that the Dukes like to do.
Abdullah gets a push from his O-line to take it to midfield, and that draws some applause from a very pro James Madison crowd. His helmet came off, so by rule he has to come out for one play.
Well, I really like the authority and the command that he is running the football with right now. Last week, or against North Dakota State, we were able to see him really turn it on in the second half. But early on today, right now, he's running like a man, averaging over 5.6 a pop and 78 yards on the ground already.
Not much going on there. A loss of a yard. It was Davis. Second and long. Less than 2 minutes to play in this opening half. Special teams has really been the game so far. James Madison used a block punt and turned a short field into a score. A shanked punt by Youngstown State gave the Dukes another short field. Play action. Here comes Moss chasing Shore. Big block in the backfield, no flag. And then Rivers throws down Shore for a sack, his 15th of the season.
Yeah.
You get away from one, his best friend is waiting for you on the other side.
And that's what makes this duo just so dominant. And Rivers comes from the backside of this play. Imagine how far he had to run. And the big boy, he runs like a linebacker. I mean, and the force there to tackle Shore with, you could tell once he got there, he was going to punish him. But these two defensive ends, you can't say enough about these two guys. And all of our people there at ESPN have said these are two guys that are draft eligible, and you definitely could see them being drafted on second day, potentially the third day.
This will be a delay of game unless James Madison called a timeout.
Delay of game. Offense. Number 17. 5 yards. Still third down.
34 seconds to go here in this opening half. Youngstown State has 1 timeout left. And if you're the Dukes, you run the ball here and make the Penguins use that last timeout?
Perhaps. I think that's the way to go here. And not only what you don't want to do is turn the ball over, so why not hand it back to your All-American running back, Khalid Abdullah, who's now back in the ball game, and see what he can do with this. And as you said, force them to call a timeout, put the ball back in the hands of your special teams units, which at this point, early on in this ball game, have won that phase of the game.
The Penguins will receive to start the second half. James Madison scored 21 straight to begin this contest. Youngstown State got a 67-yard punt to pin James Madison deep, and then Solomon Warfield deflected a James Madison punt last time, and that gave the Penguins a short field, and they were able to capitalize with a touchdown. It's been field position, it's been special teams.
Subject to a 10-second runoff. Please set the clock to 24 seconds.
So by rule, 10-second runoff on a penalty that stops the clock in the final minute of either half. And Youngstown State could have avoided that 10-second runoff by calling a timeout. They chose not to. Shore under pressure, downfield in traffic, and nearly intercepted. It's fourth down.
That was a dangerous ball. He threw it there into triple coverage, looking for his top target, Brandon Ravenel, number 11, the senior wide receiver from Virginia. and not the type of decisions that Shore typically makes, but I'm pretty sure the coaches there told him to take a shot downfield, obviously to try to at least get in field goal range and put more points on the board. Great job of defending it on the parts of the Penguins as they now get the ball back with maybe an opportunity for a play.
Now the last punt by James Madison was deflected. Kane gets this one off. High kick. No chance at a return. Takes a bounce with 4 seconds. And that will take us to the end of half number 1 in this FCS championship. James Madison with a 21-7 lead after 30 minutes of play.
Yeah, it's been a dominant performance for them. The good thing for the Penguins is they started to get something going on offense their last drive.
Down to Quint Kesnick.
Coach, what impact has special teams had in that first half?
Well, big for both teams, and he certainly got us off to a pretty fast start. And really, a couple of mistakes right there on special teams by us let them back in the ball game. So it's going to be a great second half.
What's the biggest challenge defensively without Holloway and Zagwu?
Well, it's just, you got some guys in there maybe not quite as experienced or just a little bit with depth. So we just got to do a great job of doing our job, be smart, and try to control the ball on offense to keep our defense off the field as much as possible.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
21-7 your score at the half. Quint, Ahmad, and I will go find a space heater somewhere. Time now to get you to the cozy Bristol studios and Chris Cotter.